Right, thanks for staying with us on Biztalk. If you have any comments, you can email us at biztalk@panama-tv.com, or you can tweet us at biztalk502, or you can call us at 0326937008. And today we're talking about how Malaysia can move forward with construction industry. With me, I have Mr. N.Sunderaj, the Managing Director, and Chris Hillier, the Director of Dscaff Group. Now, before we went for a break, we had a look what Dscaff is all about. So now can we talk about the products? Maybe Chris can explain about this.
Sure. I mean, the scaffolding industry, there's quite a wide range of products. So what we've been working on is forging. One of the key, these two types of scaffolding. One is basically tubular scaffolding, where you connect tubes together with what we call a coupler. So that coupler is in our industry, to meet the standards, is actually forged. So right now all these couplers are forged generally in China. There are maybe a little bit of forging still going on in India. We were facing a lot of problems with, one, supply, and secondly, quality control. So this has happened over the years. So we took quite a bold step and decided to actually start forging our own couplers here in Malaysia. So, you know, we are the only people in Southeast Asia forging couplers now. So it involved quite a lot of research, a lot of tooling research, and we've been very fortunate because we're actually working together with what they call the Centre, which is in the Northern Corridor. This is really a group of specialists from Europe predominantly, which are helping us with our tooling and with the technical aspects of forging. So right now we have a full forging line. We're producing about 70,000 pieces per month, which is very, very small as far as we're concerned. So it's our plan this year to increase maybe to up to 8 forging lines, if possible, where we'll produce 500,000 pieces a month, which will make us the biggest supplier in the world of this product.
And I was told that the raw material is not made here in locally, but the scaffolding itself or the template is made here, right?
I mean, for example, it depends. When we talk about forging for couplers, the raw material, we can source it locally in Malaysia. That is a low carbon steel, which is readily available. See, another side of the scaffolding is system scaffolding. So system scaffolding really was designed to reduce the labor content. So to erect and dismantle the system scaffolding, you may be saving 50, 60, 70% on labor, which is really good for fast track projects, and also where you know, labor is expensive. So we developed a system. In fact, 3 years ago, we bought in some system from China and we tested it, and we were very unhappy with the
quality.
Results. The quality was one thing, but also the structural integrity of the system. They were using a high tensile tube, but there were so many flaws in the design of the system that you couldn't get the loading that we wanted. So we decided really bite the bullet and make our own. And so we you know, we spent a lot of time with on R&D. We spent a lot of money on R&D. And accumulating in us building a big test rig, a 50-ton test rig. And, you know, I don't think there's many companies in the world who have done that, because, you know, it's 8 meters high and it compresses our scaffolding up to 50 tons. So through the development and the improvement, that we actually carried out physical testing to find out really where it was going to break or bend next. So that's actually helped us launch our new, what we call Dscaff SAS, which is staging, access and shoring. Because the system is very, very strong, we can use it for access, and it goes very high. Single leg loads are very high. On the other side, if people want to use it for shoring, i.e. if you want to use it for structure and pour concrete on top of it, it's also very strong.
I see.
So we launched this, actually, we'll probably speak later, but we launched this in January at the World of Concrete in the United States.
We'll talk about that. And Sundar mentioned that, you know, you both of you are trying to create a new kind of scaffolding, and also how could you get a good quality, and you mentioned that, you know, slightly cheaper, or, you know, something that is manageable by the company to buy.
Basically, you know, like I said, when we started, our interest was developing scaffolding products, and there were 2 areas that we're looking at. We started, like Chris was mentioning, forging, and forged couplers were actually predominantly controlled by these 2 countries, which is China and India, and they were the largest distributors for these couplers around the world. And now we being the only one in this region manufacturing that. And we went a step higher on that. We started developing a prototype full stainless steel coupler, You know, so that was one step ahead of everyone else, and we were the first one to forge a stainless steel coupler. Predominantly, we see this as a big demand in the offshore industry for years to come, and our first prototype was a very big success. You know, and next was we were talking about costs, right? You know, I shall talk about one of the product, which is the metal deck, which is we were quite famous of. Predominantly metal deck over the years, they were using quite a thick material, which is 2 millimeters for the Australia, and in Malaysia they were using a galvanized steel of about 1.5 millimeters, and that's the weight. And so over the years, weight is a problem for scaffolders. You could only carry a certain amount of decks on you when you go up. For us to reduce that, it actually increases the productivity of a project and things like that. So we studied on alternative materials, and from there we found that we could actually use high tensile steel with a thinner material. So for example, the one we were using in Australia, they were using 2 millimeter steel. We have brought that down to 1.6 millimeters.
I see.
So that's quite a huge saving on material and weight. And not only that, we changed the profiles of the deck, to have a good profile that it could take the load as well. And we, from the 1.5 millimeter steel in Malaysia that we use for common decks, we are using now just 1.1, but it's a high tensile steel again. So it reduces about around almost 30%, I guess, of the weight, and that is a significant.
But it increased productivity as well.
And the costs, when it's lighter steel, it goes by weight anyway.
Yes.
So it becomes cheaper and more affordable, and people can then.
But you maintain the quality of it.
I mean, talking about quality, the decks that we produce for Australia, the 1.6 millimeter decks are currently one of the strongest they have in the market. It surpasses even the one with 2 mm, because not only with the steel, but because of the design that we design ourselves. And I think one of the lab did commented on that. I guess, Chris. Yeah.
It was funny because we sent all our equipment out for third-party testing. We said we as a rule we meet both European and Australian standards. Is this part of our product? So we try to make each product.
Is there a lot of differences between the two?
Some areas, there are.
Okay.
There's a lot of interpretation. Some is done by we call theoretical testing. Australians tend to use more practical load testing. So it's also the way you test things as well.
So you make one that caters to both.
Exactly. Most of our products cater to both standards.
Okay. And what's the reception so far?
The reception has been awesome. I mean, it's been pretty good because we become a new alternative to the predominantly existing market and producing good quality products, something that people have never seen. Generally, people see metal decks, basic metal decks with simple holes and all that. We change all that. We have more beautiful designs on this hole. It looks beautiful. And the finishing, it's different.
And mostly, is it local or overseas?
Local.
Okay.
Local and a lot overseas as well. I mean, but all these products are done locally, and of course the finishing is a big factor. A lot of our competitors, they do not concentrate on the finishing, but in oil and gas, it is what it is. Your product shows how good it is. So the finishing is very important. For example, our couplers, you look at the electroplating finish. For such a product, it looks good. It looks like a jewelry. So we take pride on that. So people look at your product, they see it, and they feel happy about it. They know they're buying a good quality stuff.
So being a good quality stuff, people tend to not buy it often because it's such a good quality. How do you make sure that your product is, updated and they are interested to buy it again and again?
I think scaffolding generally, as a rule of thumb, you can say has probably about a 6 to 8 year cycle lifespan. So there's so many projects. You've got shutdowns, you've got new builds, you've got all sorts of projects. So there is a natural rotation and demand for new material. We're coming back to steel decks. It's a very engineered product, but we can supply them with a pre-galvanized finish, a hot dip galvanized. We even have a very special steel which is much better than galvanized for offshore. So they all have just different price points. So it really is up to the client to decide which price point they want to aim for.
Okay. Right, and we have to go for another short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more on this matter right here on Biztalk.